Hi, everybody. I want to thank you for coming in and joining Jody Breeze and myself with Life Uncensored. Today, if you notice that we are wearing dresses. Joyce or Jody, why are we wearing dresses today?
We are wearing dresses because we wanted to be a little fancy and talk about prom. And some of us really didn't get to wear a dress on prom if we even didn't made it. So we just wanted to dress a little nice for the occasion. Kind of show our support to the prom goers yesterday.
Yes.
And make a little fun out of it, I guess.
Yes. I am very excited to bring on the creators of the world's best prom, which is the prom we would have gone to, or I went to, and you would have attended.
It's okay though. It got a little easier after the year.
Nobody really had that much fun though with prom. I mean, some people maybe did, but we're going to talk to Jacob about that. because he was very excited about his prom. So I want to first invite Chris Talbert and Ian Rosenberg. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Ian Rosenberg, up with us so we can talk about what.
Hi. Hello.
What led you to? Let's just get right in the deep stuff. What led you to make a documentary about Racine Prom?
I'll jump in, Ian. I can kind of remember the short version. We were living in New York City, but we're both from Racine. And we had started an arts collective with other people, and actually 3 people in the collective were from Racine. And when we happened to talk about prom, I don't know why, to our friends from New York and LA, they could not believe, right, Ian? They were just kind of like, what?
They'd be like, wait, it's televised? Go back,
Yeah, they just had never heard of anything like that.
And wait, it's every high school? Is that the same prom? Again, their minds were blown.
Yeah, and
we do have a good prom.
Huh?
We got one of the world's best proms, I think.
Oh,
That's why we called our movie that. It was arguably so, sure. So they were so curious. The people not from our city were so curious that we thought, okay, maybe this will be of interest to other people beyond Racine. And we made the movie, and it was.
Yeah.
And it's great.
And we wanted the movie to really, we think prom is really fascinating as a rite of passage, and that this was this rite of passage taken to an incredible extreme, and this extreme that feels like the Academy Awards, but that is right in the middle of the country, in our hometown, in the Midwest, where I think people are more surprised that there would be such an extravagant and over-the-top prom celebration. So it was always about highlighting Racine and their incredible prom tradition.
Yeah, Racine does have a couple. That is one of our best assets that we have here is besides our lake, our beach, but prom is like a big thing. Yes, everybody, like I've seen people come from California and they love it. Like, I'm like, what do you mean? Like, you guys are coming from California, but we're like top 10. I think we're like number 3, and our prom is like very high rated too. The cars are a big deal. The drive down there, walking in and, like it's just a great experience. And it's like a traditional thing if you're from here.
Yeah.
And I didn't hit a different note, Missy. And I know but also how interesting to us, I think how interesting to our friends from New York and LA, how diverse Racine is.
Yeah. Because
people on the edges of the country will stereotype the middle of the country and think like everything in the middle is this kind of Christian Bible Belt kind of white. I'm being a little reductive, but I don't know that there's a whole wide range of people everywhere in the country.
Yeah.
And so they were surprised to see that. And actually, if they grew up in a big city, they're more segregated in some ways. Racine is just not big enough to be as segregated as they are still in New York to this day, and LA. So I think that part of the story was interesting to me. And
that is true. They try to segregate us, but doesn't work really because we all kind of just collaborate together. But I don't know. I just think this year's prom was a little different because they had it in a different location, and I'm a very traditional person. So to me, I was like, I look forward to like watching it, but we had a lot of road construction, so they kind of switched the route, and they had it up at the county fair, Racine County Fairgrounds this year. So that was a little different.
Yeah, that's strange to me because part of it, I think it should be on the Great Lake. You mentioned that's Racine's greatest asset. I mean, come on, it's true. People, like you said, it's not the ocean, but we don't need to compare. That is an incredible lake. Come on.
Yeah, a lot of people come here and they love it. And like actually this year they're opening up they got the Oasis and they're putting a restaurant in there, like a real Mexican restaurant.
Glad to see that. So, really? A Mexican restaurant now. Awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So we got, we do have, it is one of our best assets on the 4th of July, especially.
4th of July. Chris and I also wanted to do a documentary about Racine's 4th of July parade, but that never happened, unfortunately. That's my other favorite Racine tradition.
We thought it would be fun to follow up because it used to be the biggest parade in the entire upper Midwest or something. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Like we used to camp outside at nighttime. Until the next day, and like we had like drum corps, we had so many. Now it's
really Really good
Super-
drum corps. I loved the dancing
Yes.
and the
Remember
drum
New
corps.
Day?
Do you still have
What do we call the
soldiers, the people who are veterans who are posing as like the
Holding
flag
the
at Iwo Jima?
flag
My
and they
dad-
put it
Like
on.
this, but yeah.
My dad actually is a picture in the mall because that's what he does on the 4th of July.
Oh, he was one of those guys. Cool.
Yeah, he is one of those guys. He still does it.
Nice.
The paint.
Oh,
I always
Yeah,
love that.
he's painted from head to toe, and
Yeah.
they took a picture of him. And they posted it on the Racine Mall. So like anytime I go into the Racine Mall, I always like take a picture, like a selfie of me going like this.
I love it. Every single year, they would stop in front of our family who would cheer so hard. And every year, Barb Adrian, my aunt, rest in peace, would go out and go out and just implore one of them to take a beer, because this is back in the 70s. That was okay, you know, in the morning. And they would break their pose, which they almost never did, and that would make the crowd go crazy. They'd be like,
Yes.
and one of them would take the beer and drink it, and everyone would just be like, "Yeah!"
Now they do move, right?
Yeah.
I think our parade, it has been a little different. Like the last few years, it's downsized, and this year we're gonna have it in spite of COVID, but it's gonna be a little shorter. So we'll see how it goes, because I always make it to 14th Street because I never get up in time. Missy knows I'm never on time. So
Early.
I'm on my own time, I guess. And if I get there, I get there. No, so I always end up getting to 14th Street, and it's always like the beginning of the end, but it's the beginning still.
Yeah.
So we'll see this year how it goes, because everything's a little different with COVID, and they shortened it. But like the sleeping outside, how we used to do, like that was like I always wondered, like, what is this thing about Bloody Marys and people drinking early in the morning? I'm not drinking tomato juice, but them things are really good when you get older.
That they would stake out their spot the night before. Now, two friends of ours from high school did something so clever. The night before, when everyone was out there partying, holding their spots, they turned their car into the 3rd of July King and Queen float. And they kind of drove down at like 2 a.m. or midnight or whatever, honking, and everyone was just like, yeah. And they were like the third. That was Trina Fossum, Ian. You'll remember.
I know Trina. Yeah.
Oh, Ruben Carbajal was there too, who made our movie with us, but he couldn't make it tonight.
My
I
mother.
thought that was so funny.
My son's grandmother, she lives right within a block distance of where the parade starts. And so she can see from the front of her house where they're getting together in the zoo parking lot in the back. And like every year, it's like rock, paper, scissors that we all play of who has to go out there and stand at 2 a.m. To get a place, because if you don't get the place.
Yeah.
Right.
I was out there with my sister-in-law, and like people fight over spots. I'd never seen this before. I was enthused as they're fighting.
Buy a house on Main Street just to have the parade every year at my house.
Yes.
I'm not even kidding you. Like, it's like, I don't know. It's just so. My aunt actually lives right across from the North Beach. So
Okay.
like she has a big, huge thing every year. But like she said, like when I get there, usually it's a little bit later. So like I park like 20 blocks away, and we have to walk because there's no getting in after.
True. Yeah. True.
Like to do the fireworks, man, there's thousands and thousands of people that come to the fireworks.
Yeah.
And it's a holiday. I hate not being in racing on 4th of July.
Yeah,
Like,
it
I
is
can't
fun
go
there.
anywhere else. I have to be here.
Well, that's one of the things I love about Racine is how passionate people are about their rituals, whether it's prom or 4th of July. That's one of my favorite things. And it was great when we interviewed people talking about prom. You know, the students were, of course, all psyched about it, but also people's parents and the people working at the prom.
Yes.
I mean, it really is a multi-generational experience, and that was also really so interesting.
Right.
So,
It makes me be proud to be in racing, these kind of things.
yeah.
Speaking of being proud in Racine, I want to pull in two of the participants that came did the documentary, and I want to right away ask them how they got pulled in. So let me pull up Jacob and Tanya.
Tanya's my cousin, you guys.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
Hey.
Hi.
Good to see you.
Hey, good to see you too.
Tanya. You look beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, as always. Wow. And Jacob, hello. I saw you a little bit. Hello again. Amazing.
Jacob and Tanya, I want to ask, well, first of all, ask Jacob, how did you get pulled in to doing the documentary about prom?
You know, trying to recollect from 21 years ago,
Yeah.
somewhere around there. I know that my date, her brother, was going to prom with one of the other girls, and I just literally, I think I got dragged in.
Well,
That's a good thing, right?
we were at the tanning salon, and I don't remember why we were at that particular tanning salon. Tanya, were you going there, or was maybe Dory?
I think it was
going
Dory.
there?
Yeah, Dory was going there.
Yeah. So we were following Dory and Dory Sorensen, who was one of our friends' younger sister. And then Jacob was just so compelling, willing to be on camera, and we kept adding to Jacob every the scenes with Jacob every time we did another edit. So that was just a happy accident.
Yeah, it was your parents'
were you
business.
like
Really.
the
I think it was
picture
your parents'
queen?
business because someone
Yeah.
was at the tanning salon, of course, preparing for prom. So that's how we crossed paths, really. Yeah.
He
Okay.
had great energy. He did have great energy for the.
You thought so too?
documentary.
Great
Yeah.
energy, terrible words. Terrible
Well, come on, we were all
yes.
17 once. And
Yes.
I know
Well, I
when you
remember
said
one of your
21 years,
words.
were you trying to sabotage us and let us know how old we are?
I just think it's awesome that we had a documentary of the year
Yeah.
2000.
yeah,
We had been like, our whole class had been like this like pedestal class for years because it was the year 2000. The world was supposed to end.
Oh, yeah, it was,
And-
right?
yeah.
And the prom, like our prom, one thing that, I mean, first I want to bring up, I have one clip. Oh, I don't, you know what? I can't. I tried. There's a clip where in the documentary, the teenagers are like, well, what's to do in prom? And everyone's like,
Walk in and walk out the back door.
yeah.
Get your flash on and then head out the back door and go have fun, right?
Yeah.
No. We danced all night.
Yeah, it was very interactive. It was not. I mean, it was probably one of the best experiences I've ever had. You know, so even now, I think it's much different now because I heard some of the kids yesterday. That's what they did: walk in and walk out. But
Yeah,
it
they were
wasn't
really
like
not.
that.
They weren't as engaged as in the past years, and I don't know if it's because of the situation that they moved it to a different location and it just wasn't the same, I guess. And I mean, I guess on the bright side, I'm glad they were able to still have it because last year, you know, a lot of
They
kids
were.
got ripped off at the, you know, so they probably could have even invited them kids to join in if you think about it, because
Yeah.
that's like something you look forward to your whole life. And I don't know, like, growing up, like with Missy, actually, Tanya, you know, like this is my cousin. So like we've grown up, we've all went to school together since day one. And Missy, remember when we did that time capsule at NAP and we were supposed to like dig it up in the year 2000 and then we never got to like dig it up?
Yeah.
I'm still waiting on that, you know.
I know. I hear about it all the time.
Wait, that's long overdue. This is a 20-year late.
I
21.
know, like, they never let us dig it up. I'm like, that was like a ripoff. Like, I really waited on that. But I don't know. I guess maybe one day we'll have to go do it on our own.
Oh, don't do that.
I don't even know. It was like by
We
the
don't need
flag,
you
and I don't
arrested
know.
here.
It was at NAP, so they redid the school, and I don't even know, like, if it's like if that flag is even there. Actually, Missy, is it?
Yeah, it's still there.
Yeah.
I was like,
They
no.
said you should, for the parade, Carrie Peterson said you should sleep by your sister's house. Then you can walk down to the parade.
Yeah,
to
that's
Andrew's
not
house.
gonna probably happen. So I'll be on 14th Street. Yeah, I'm always on 14th Street literally because I always get there late and then I can't find a spot. And then I'm just like, you know what? I can catch the beginning on 14th Street at 11 o'clock versus the beginning on Gould at like 7 o'clock. So I'm on the late show.
You don't get
I
out
was
there.
going 14th. No, I used to when they used to do it like the way that you know, when we used to sleep outside overnight. Tanya, you remember that? Sleeping outside downtown and like having like the best parade, like all the dance teams, New Day, Drum Corps. They used to start practicing like a month or two over there in the field by Park, and you would hear them like up the hill, like practicing
hear you.
and getting everything ready. But we've had a lot of changes. I want to say it's a lot of advertisement versus the fun things now. this year they're having it. I don't know how it's going to be. So we'll kind of see. But I guess we got to roll with the times. And I'm just glad that they got to have prom yesterday because on the bright side.
I did drive past the prom at Horlick and at Park. Case is just way out there for me. I don't get out that often, and so I just was able to drive past Horlick and Park. And I know DJ Big Ron DJ'd at the prom at Horlick yesterday. So he said that it was pretty good, that they had a food truck, and he was pretty impressed. It was a lot better than he thought it was going to be. I feel like, okay, so how Tanya, how do you feel like you being part of the documentary that you helped you or hindered you when you graduated?
I think it definitely helped. If you look at it, I can look at it today and be like, oh God, I hope nobody watches this. Like, I was just so bashful and so shy, and I didn't want to talk on camera. It did help. I mean, it was like, it's like that transition that you have to go through. You're about to graduate, you're about to be making adult decisions, and it was just it just helped with that transition. So it definitely helped. I really don't think, I can't speak for anybody, but I would think that everybody who participated in this benefited from it in terms of just this is like the finale, and now we're moving on to grown-up things. So it really was helpful.
I do have to agree.
Good achievement. You guys should be like proud of yourselves. Like, start posting it and let these kids know like what it really is. Bring back the old days. That's like the best times. Like the old times were such good times, and things are really changing now. And I don't know, like, I know that they were saying that they're going to keep the prom at the county ground fairs, but I don't know how true that is. But I'm hoping that they change it. And it was literally just because of the road construction right now that they changed it out there. Because like people look forward to going down to the festival hall, pulling up, doing their dance up the alley, up the walkway, and the cars, and like you had that space. And I seen a little bit of the decorations inside yesterday. I don't think as many people attended this prom as I've seen in the past. It was kind of
that because a lot of COVID,
people. I mean, COVID probably too,
sure.
because a lot of people are still scared to come out, and maybe they didn't want to partake. So I mean, that's why I said I hope next year that it's kind of back to normal and things, everybody's getting their vaccines and taking the masks off now and kind of coming out of the fears. So hopefully, like, that probably did play a big part. I mean, it has played a big part in a lot of other things, so I couldn't imagine why it wouldn't. So hopefully.
I think it was definitely a different energy. Yesterday, my cousin Tamari and one of my best friend's daughters, Michaela, they both attended yesterday. So
I seen them; they were so nice.
Yeah, I got to watch everything, and to my knowledge, they didn't have a school prom, so they all just went to wherever they met up at the end. And I think you need that full experience. Like, this is our unique. Yeah.
What school do they go to?
Park and St. Cat's.
Okay, I know St. Cat's really doesn't have one. I know Walden also doesn't have something. What they do is they do the dinner beforehand, because I went to Walden and that's where I graduated from. So we went to the Racine Country Club. We had dinner. It was, a great experience. My date sucked and was real cute, but not so smart. So I just was the whole time, just don't. I'm kidding. But I actually hung out and I went mostly with my Park friends that I had, kept in touch with over the years. And I feel like it was such a celebration that, we were all still together after years and years of, schooling, that nobody else, we didn't leave each other. Mm-hmm. Same with my Walden friends. They're tearing down Walden right now, and we've been crying on and off for the last week from them tearing it down. And people, the bigger high schools don't understand necessarily the significance of the building of Walden that we have, because it's such a family experience. I mean, we went to school with I graduated with 65 kids, and I'm pretty sure all 65 of us went to prom.
Mm.
And then you have the flip side where, like me, I didn't go. Like, I didn't make it. And I was mad because that's something you look forward to your whole life, I guess. You know, you start school, and then, like, the way that our prom is so, like, amazing to me, you know, it was something I didn't want to miss out on, but it wasn't planned, and it happened. So over the years, like, I was mad, and then it got a little easier. But I was actually talking to someone yesterday, and they told me how, you know, I wish I would have really went and, you know, put some effort into it more than what I did, and I missed out on it. And I was like, you know what, I did too, but at the end of the day, at least we got to watch it on TV, you know, and we got to see all of our friends still. But it was an experience that I regret missing out on, and it was really rough at first, but now as the older I get, like, I kind of accepted it, and it's a little bit easier. But I don't recommend anybody miss out on the experience because it wasn't the best choice that I made by doing that.
Chris and Ian, how was your prom experience compared to the prom experience you documented?
Mm.
Well, I went with my then girlfriend, Amy, and we went in a school bus, and we had friends pretend that they were like paparazzi, like old-time news reporters, and like take our pictures out when we got there. So that was fun. But I remember when we were filming people dancing, I'm like, oh my gosh, everyone is so much of a better dancer in your generation than they were in my
That's because they're TikToking it up. They're practicing all day.
So
You didn't have TikTok? What are you, like,
that's right, no
going to the
TikTok.
future and coming back to school?
Nowadays, they're TikToking it up, so they're like getting their practice on probably months before. They didn't even know they were practicing though for prom. But I didn't get to watch it on TV actually because it started messing up yesterday, so I didn't get to really see a lot of stuff. And I was like, you know, this is just not the same. But at the same time, again, like, I was happy that they had it on the bright side, because last year, like, they got ripped off, and that just wasn't okay to me. So I think they could actually merge them together because it was pretty low key when you think about it. Like, it was like, usually when they're going downtown to Festival Hall, it's crowded. The cars are coming back to back. The lines of cars, like, they used to cut off Washington Avenue. Everybody would, like, literally, it was just a big old, like, line of cars just, you know, going. And that's why they said they switched it, because of all the road construction. But I found that funny too, because there's road construction all the way down Durand right now too. So,
Chris.
I also just remembered that that Dory's sister, our good friend Karen, used to joke when we were making the documentary that we only did it because we wanted to go back to prom.
that's right.
Oh, I would love to redo my prom. Love to redo my prom. Chris, what did you take to prom? Did you take, like, a really fancy car? I took a Greyhound from 1936 Greyhound.
Oh, that's cool.
That I had gotten from Chris and Ian, you might know Ensenadas.
Yeah.
Remember? Okay.
I remember that. Yeah.
Larry Buffetto, the owner of Ensenadas, has all these cars and is friends with my father. And so we got to be able to use one of his cars.
That's so cool.
That's fun.
Yes.
I just went on a school bus like Ian did. We rented to school with a lot of people. So nothing really super, not nearly as creative as other people got. I rented a very eccentric tux. I was like, in the 80s, was like very into like eccentric fashion statements, I guess you could say. So, like, when I went to one of my reunions, even though I wasn't necessarily the most popular or least popular kid, I know they put me in that senior video because it was just like, you look
You
like
had a top hat, right?
your hair is really funny. Yeah.
You had an old-fashioned top hat.
I did. I got a top
Yes,
hat.
I
and
remember.
Cane,
I
a
remember
vintage cane.
I thought it was cool.
19th century Charles Dickens looking suit. It was like, I just wanted something eccentric, and I got it. And I went with my good friend Maisie Kennedy, platonically, but I just thought she was so beautiful. And of course, I wished it was maybe going to go beyond the platonic. You know, there's that awkward. You kind of hope that you've been platonic all along, but maybe on prom night, Jacob.
Nothing wrong with wishful thinking.
Jacob, what did you take to prom?
I believe we went I think we went with a limo. Just
Classic.
something classic and casual, nothing too eccentric. You know, I didn't get to take an elephant like I've seen people do before, but yeah.
That
Yeah, I
was
think
the great successful research project of our prom documentary, is that we had always heard about the elephant, but we weren't sure if it was real, and we were able to document that the elephant entrance to prom was indeed real. And
I mean, we knew it happened, but the actual videotape that somebody had it on an old VHS and managed to put it into our hands was the big archival success. We were like, we went into the basement of the Racine Museum, like literally the archives, and found some of those cool old. That's where we got some of that old Racine industry in the movie and old Racine proms. That came from some old stuff in that museum. That was kind of neat, right, Ian?
Cool. I love all that footage. Yeah.
What did you take, Tanya? I think it was in the documentary, but I don't remember.
It was a 2-seater BMW. It was my brother's wife's.
Okay.
And at the end of the night, we couldn't get the gas cap open. So we rode around on E for a while and then we called it a night.
That's not in the documentary.
So you're so like me, riding around on E just because I don't feel like getting gas, and then I run out 2 blocks before I get home and walk.
When Tanya walks away from us at the end of the movie, we literally just left her alone there. That's where she walked away. We were kind of like, you know what? Maybe the rest of the prom night should just be let's give her some space. You didn't ask for it even. But it's kind of interesting that you walking away, we were like,
I think it was
that part.
I love that.
Yeah.
This part I won't document. Peace.
Your shoes off. It was a long.
You're carrying your heels. I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just want to take a minute to say that even though the film is called The World's Best Prom and it is about this incredible rite of passage taken to an extreme, for me, my favorite parts of the story of the film are the stories of Tanya and Dory, and to be able to profile 2 young women who were so smart and charismatic, and just to really get a chance to like hear about their lives in a small
that's the best part of the movie by far. Most people that honestly review it, even we didn't do justice to the bling part, to be honest. We didn't have like the technical tools even. The really good part is just the human story of watching 2 young women get ready for prom. And Ben too, and then the other voices, Jacob and others. Yeah, that's the best part.
And to have some kind of voice of their generation, the voices of their generation was really, that felt like a real privilege and like a time capsule that I hope still pays off for people.
Yeah.
And I think that I loved how Dory had said in the beginning, I've been planning for prom since last year's prom. Yeah. I know I had friends that had been planning prom since their freshman year. Like they were deciding how they were doing their hair, what kind of dress they were doing. I had a friend that had a custom made dress that was rainbow, princess gowned, like totally out of the ball. And she had been planning this since her freshman year.
Yeah.
You get your dress before you get your date. You get your wheels before you get your date.
Tell them what it's going to be. This is the theme. This is
For
what
real.
we're going with.
Yeah.
And you're going to roll with the punches because it's only right that the ladies get to pick that, right?
Well,
I
that's
think
one of
that Jacob
Jacob's.
said it best.
I was just going to say that's one of Jacob's best lines.
Yes.
We asked him what he
whatever
was
I'm
doing.
told to do, I'm doing.
That's right.
Well, we never explicitly said so, but there's so much about gender difference, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Because just showing what you were doing, Tanya, and there's racial difference in there too, but showing what you were doing and what Dory was doing, and then what Ben was doing, and Jacob said, I'm doing what I'm told, without ever having to say it. It's all kind of there, and I thought it was really, really interesting.
It was.
That
So,
served
Ian,
me
are
well
you
in
wearing
life as well.
your gym shirt top from like 8th grade?
So it's my homage to Racine. I actually was saying this is not my original gym shirt. I had my parents who used to live in Racine buy me one when I was in college. So it's only it's not from 8th grade. It's from 96 or something.
Yeah.
We did not plan this, but I'm wearing a vintage.
I was going to say, you got a pretty nice one too.
We did not plan that.
If you want a new one, just let me know. I will go and get you one.
Frank Lloyd
There's in abundance.
So it's still the gym shirt.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah, they haven't changed that at
But
all.
I want to back up and say to Tanya, I was, of course, hoping that you would say nice things, but of course, it means so much to us to find out that you valued the experience.
Oh man,
And certainly we were open to hearing otherwise, but no, I'm glad to hear
No.
that. I want to add
No.
one thing. You mentioned the shy, bashful girl. It was so, you made it so hard, but then that made it really rewarding to kind of get you. Because Dory's different and Dory's great in her own way, but putting it out there, Jacob's putting it out there with you.
Yeah.
We had to just sit
Yeah,
and
to
watch,
pull it out. Yeah.
or just sit and watch and let you and that was kind of fun to shape, and it made it it's behind the scenes. That was kind of a tough thing to craft.
Yeah.
But I really love those beautiful moments where you are kind of quietly shy. I think it's great.
She's always got that smile. Like, I don't know, like,
Tanya,
it's always been with her. She's like the picture queen and the smile queen. Always been quiet, but always keeps a smile. Just a
beautiful
pleasant
smile. I know.
have you talked to Yori at all since prom?
Oh,
So
good question.
yeah, that's funny. His grandmother and my mom live next door to each other.
They
So
do, yeah.
they do, yeah. So we don't. I mean, we don't follow each other closely, but we're, we kind of keep. We know what's going on in each other's lives because of my mother and his grandmother. So
Okay.
Dang, Tanya,
Yeah.
I remember you guys were like one of the biggest couples back then too. That was so long ago.
until right before prom.
Right. Yeah, we weren't together. We weren't together when we went to prom. So it was like an afterthought. Like, well, we've been fighting and everything else up to now. We might as well go to prom together. Like it worked out.
Are you still in forensics?
You know what? I am a therapist.
Oh, okay.
I am not. Yeah, I do mental health and addiction counseling, and
Wow.
yeah. So I'm not as
Right there where you were
close into
needed.
that. Yeah.
I'm happy to hear that. That sounds perfect.
Thank you. I certainly want to do because you can do like profiling with my my licenses and my degrees, but haven't gotten there yet. That's still a passion of mine that I want to pursue. But yeah, that's where I'm at right now.
Okay.
Cool. And
How
you're in
about
Racine.
you?
Huh?
And sorry, you're living in Racine?
I am. Yes.
Yeah, cool.
Okay. Jacob, have your predictions changed? Your deals changed since the documentary? Are you still at Merchants or?
No, I'm not at Merchants anymore. I'm actually working for a industrial waste company where we recycle oil and coolants and turn it into good water and good oil and try to greenify the world a little bit more. No, none of my predictions came true, and I'm very grateful for that.
A lot of ours didn't, but we're still here, and that's all that counts. We're still
Exactly.
in game, and we all look good for our age. I think we're looking better than these new age kids, right?
Oh yeah.
The 40 is the new 20.
Yeah.
I love your kid in the background. Are you? Yeah, he keeps popping his head in.
Meanwhile, yours is just screaming, "Yes, sir!"
My kid walks around and says, "Yes, sir," even if it's to me, and I say, "Yes, ma'am," and he goes, "No, yes, sir." But I have 5 boys, so
Wow.
Lord help me, he had a sense of humor when he gave me 5 boys. Do you talk to your date at all, Jacob?
No. We talked for a while after high school, and after that, let's just say it kind of dwindled, and yeah, I'll leave it at a good note. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
What you say? Not too much.
I still wish her the best.
Yeah.
Well
I mean,
said.
hey, anybody's better than my prom date. He's in jail, so
Oh no.
you guys got one on me.
I didn't have one at all, so
What would you say if you had to directly talk to your former younger self in the documentary and give it advice for the future, since prom is such a step in the milestone type of thing?
Wow.
And that's for everyone.
Okay.
I think I'd probably just tell myself just to relax, enjoy the moment, and don't let anything stress you out. I mean, it only lasts one night, and possibly a weekend.
Something like a marriage.
Well,
What?
Something like a marriage nowadays.
No. Mine's 15 years right now. So
Awesome.
Nice.
Good.
thanks.
I haven't made it that far yet. Goals,
It,
Tanya.
I've made it that far twice.
Twice.
she hasn't killed me yet, so we're still good.
That's a good thing.
Lord willing, she should have.
I think I would just tell myself to relax, take your time. If I knew then what I know now about that whole college process and about if I had a little bit more financial literacy, then I would give myself different advice about the student loans and that kind of things that Chris, you had mentioned the difference between like the racial differences, and I think in the African American community we don't learn that. We were not learning those things as much as we should have. So I didn't have all of those tools then, but thank goodness I do now. And I'm still young, and I can we can figure it out. But I would have given myself some financial advice, definitely.
Glad you found the mentors or you learned yourself. Of course, I'm glad to hear that. I mean, I didn't make you do that. I'm so happy to hear you worked your way through it.
Oh yeah.
Definitely should have been something was taught in school too.
I wish it was taught in school for everybody.
Yeah.
Yes, it should. Like they
really important.
definitely need to do that. Like I was just talking with someone yesterday, and they're like, "Go back to school," and I'm like, "No, like I don't want to deal with." First of all, I would have never took out anything extra.
Mhm.
Second of all, like we coming out of school in debt is not okay. Like we go to all this schooling to like have a great life, and then you come out in debt, and that's the part they don't talk about. It's almost like they lure you in when you first graduate and you're fresh 18. It's kind of like how they start sending you the credit cards and you're taking everything. And so like I was just telling someone yesterday, like I just don't want to do it because I don't really want to be in debt like, any more than what I already am from student loans. So I think the key to like the student loans is getting as many grants as you can and not taking out a dime extra other than for school and books only. All that extra is just, it piles up, and it's not even something that you really need.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's so important. I wish there were more financial literacy, like, and I think like what they used to call home economics, they reform it and make it for real and actually teach people these simple
I
basics.
agree.
How not to get ripped off by the system and by systems, because it is true that it's a little bit designed to rip off the poor. It's so unfortunate, but once you're at a certain level in the bank, you all know this, the fees all go away.
Well, I've seen that case actually. I think it was Case or Horlick this year. They did something like that. They did a financial class and they gave the students like a job and like kids and a house, and they gave them prices for all their bills. And then they gave them a budget, and they had to figure out how they would make this budget work throughout this course of this class. It was like a small, shortened class.
Yeah.
And basically, like, they gave them their budget, and they told them, figure it out, like, how would you make this work if you were an adult?
Yeah.
And it was pretty interesting to see, like, how they had to, like, budget it out. And it kind of gave them the insight on why it's important to budget and how you stay in your means and how you advance from your means by budgeting everything out. Like it ends up eventually working out. And it's very important. Like financial classes should absolutely be offered. I mean, like the things, like you said, like that we don't know now, that we didn't know then and we know now, would have really helped us, and a lot of us could have saved a lot of paying off student loans for how many years and, just enjoying the fruits of our hard-earned labor and work that we put in to get where we're going. And instead of like worrying about calling the loan companies and fixing these loan payments every month. And so hopefully we're going to get that good old cancellation though, is what I'm kind of waiting on. And I'm like praying about it because like, it's really going to make a big difference for a lot of people.
Chris and Ian, how did you go like, what?
It'll liberate the economy, what you said.
Yep.
How did you finance a documentary?
Well, we were very lucky. I mean, this was the beginning. One of the reasons we wanted to do or we were able to do the film was really the beginning of the digital camera revolution. And so that was
First one
it was sort of the beginning of people being able to afford a professional grade camera system for, what was it? I mean, Chris, it was $2,000, which felt like an enormous amount of money then.
1 year it went from like, you would probably need, let's just say at a minimum, $150,000 to just get into the basic production. It went to like, well, if you can get together $10,000, you can do post, shoot and edit. It just changed the game in 1 year. And it just was like one camera came out that was just that much better. The quality today doesn't look like digital video today, but that at the time was a leap. And we were like, we had been doing theater because movie was a little unapproachable. And we said, we just grabbed the opportunity, right? We're like, we can do it. And what you said earlier about the year 2000, we're like, this is kind of neat.
Yeah.
Like it's the year 2000 is kind of interesting. This generation, this group has been told like they're this.
Yeah.
I think we're pretty
Transition
special
group,
because
yeah.
honestly, we're one of the last generations that'll actually know what life was like before the internet and after it. Like our children will never know like what life was out. Like Tanya, Misty, like our kids might a little bit, like the older ones, just a little bit. But
Not even my 25-year-old.
Yeah, I don't allow her to do it as much because I want that imagination. But I think that's like a pretty cool thing too, because like we can like tell that our kids like, hey, like we didn't have. I mean, even though they've been doing this to us for years and telling us, well, when I was a kid, I had to walk 1,000,000 miles. We didn't get a bus, and but like literally, we're the last generation that'll know what it was like before the internet.
Yeah.
No,
we
that's
didn't have cell phone. I mean, we may have
Which
had,
explains a lot about Tanya's dress, because if there was the internet, they would have been able to figure out who had whose dress.
Right.
That's right. We would have posted about it earlier. I also want to thank the people who the shortest answer is how could we afford it is we got donations from friends and family. And we had a not-for-profit. We founded ourselves as a not-for-profit so people could give us money and it would be a tax donation. And so the entire prom budget was 100% raised by donations and some
Deborah Meltzer, executive producer, leading funder, Deborah Meltzer, local Racine.
That's amazing that people supported it, and because it's hard to get that kind of support nowadays, and people are skeptical. Is it a scam? Is it you got so many variables that you got to put into it. So that's pretty good.
Not
this
back
is
then.
before you could do like a we fund it, so we had to just send letters in the mail, believe it or not, and then people send checks in the mail. Speaking of like the old ways,
you guys are just like, oh, we got one, we got two.
Yeah.
So that's pretty amazing that you guys were able to do that way, because nowadays it'd be really hard.
On each envelope together, and then be like, oh,
Would you
ask for money? Should we really do this? Are we really worthy?
Eventually, we splurged, and we no longer had the envelopes that we had to lick. We started to get the kind that we were like, "It's worth it. It's worth it." And we're not doing that anymore. But that's how cost conscious we were. We were definitely not wasting money.
You had a comment on the question about that about just we were back before we got diverted by the money question. Then you were going to comment on. Anyway, I'm sorry. I kept wanting to hear what you had to say, but we were all jumping in over you because you're still relatively quiet.
Tanya?
Yeah.
About the dress?
Back up like a minute. Yes.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think we went to Chicago for it.
Yeah,
and
you said that.
I thought I was doing just this, this such a unique thing by going to Chicago. We spent the day there, looking for this dress, and it was perfect, a perfect fit. And I'm like, people are gonna be astonished by this dress. And then I get, we get to that day, and there's like 5 other girls. But I think that everybody put it together so differently that we didn't even know.
True.
And it was better on you than that other person we had in the film.
Oh, Ian, you didn't.
My dress was made by my aunt, and we had gone to Chicago for the material.
Oh, cool.
And I had been sick like 2 weeks prior, and like was having a lot of like stomach issues. So I was really swollen, and it ripped through dinner, my dress. And I was crying after dinner before post prom. And I was like, I put on my winter formal dress, which was like a bright blue, huge ball gown dress. I'm like, and black stockings and black shoes that match. I'm like, I'm going in this. I'm not missing my prom.
Wow, that's a true.
That's a nightmare, but you worked it out.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was not missing prom. I had worked my butt off to like get there and be graduating. I was not missing that experience.
I wish we had been documenting that too.
That's a great story.
Yeah, you gotta get the laugh. You know, laughing is good for the soul. So at least you took the good with the bad, and still it didn't
Right.
discourage you on going
We
because
had Jacob for the laughs.
yeah,
No.
I like to think that we used you gently. It's
You know, the only thing I can appreciate is that when you put my name in the credits, that you spelled it wrong.
Oh no!
So nobody knows that I meant it.
we take that stuff seriously. That's actually really important to hear. Ian's doing the right thing.
Yeah, you spelled it with an S at the end, so it's like I'm non-existent. It's perfect.
Oh, wow.
all that hard work just down the drain for one S.
Well, I apologize on behalf of Chris.
Anybody know where Dory, like Ben? I see Ben on Facebook a lot. I like me and Missy went to like elementary on up with him. Dory, I have not seen her in years.
She's in Racine. I
Is
did
she?
message
I've
her.
not
I
even
asked
seen her
her
in
to come
years.
in and she was not interested. And I sent Ben the link because we had been talking back and forth. But I know he is really, I don't know, he's got a lot of stuff going on. He's wrestling and with work
Yeah,
and
he does.
whatnot.
Well, I know Dory's doing really well. Chris
Yeah.
and I are still good friends with her sister, Karen, and I know she's doing really well. So we wish her.
That's good.
Good.
I managed to meet her once when I was coming through Racine. It was a little while ago now. I'm going to say even 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 years ago. But I did see her. Yeah, she was doing great, having her first or second child.
Nice.
I think she's
Sorry.
But you guys, what about Prom King and Prom Queen? Did you guys see yesterday that they actually had a special needs child that they
Park.
nominated? That was like so like they were my
That's
population.
cool.
I love that's who I work with, and I like love.
Oh,
I just love them people. Like they're so sweet, and I thought that was like really good because you know for so many years they were excluded and they were put into separate categories, and like and now they're integrating them. Like my daughter's school. Actually, you don't have to feel bad, Miss, because she'll be going to Walden because Red Apple's going over there, hopefully before she gets out of school. So it's like good because they're teaching them all about it. Like they're showing them how they're taking it down. And I think they're going to actually save some of the bricks to rebuild when they rebuild the school from Walden. But I just think that it's a good thing because Red Apple is a really good public school, and they have so many kids with disabilities, and they put them right in the classrooms. I'm like, when we were in school, there were the little classes, and everybody was singled out, and so I think it's a good thing that they're including them because they're no different than what we are. And they had that prom king and queen, and the girl, she was a pretty girl, and she wasn't a mean girl. And they were very accepting, and I think that is so amazing because we need to make room for them. They're no different. And my daughter has so much knowledge on, she has so many Down syndrome kids, and it just melts my heart because she's very aware at her age. She's only 8, so she's very aware, and they do so good. They take them out to the class for an hour a day, and they go do their one-on-one, and they come back, and they're just like us. And I think that's really good.
I feel like in any way, shape, or form, anytime you put something up as a platform to show how somebody should, what's the right thing, the moral thing to do. I know in other years, schools have done the year before I graduated, they had 2 prom queens because they were a couple, and it, it was, and then it was a big deal, and we had to have prom king, and which was a bunch of bullshit to me. And my year, the prom queen at Walden wore, as in protest of the year before, wore a wedding dress that she dyed black. So, but I want to ask also,
classic Walden move.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Chris and Ian, what are you guys doing now in today? Are you making more documentaries? I know, but I'm going to ask you.
Chris, you want to go first?
Yes, go
The
ahead.
answer is yes. Still making documentaries and other creative projects. So yes, christalbot.com.
Mhm.
Nothing,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm living in New York City. This is my house in New York in Queens. I'm near the ocean in the
How's
Rockaway.
New Year's there? That's like a dream to be at in New York City on like New Year's one
I
year.
don't
Got
go
to
to
do it.
Square for New Year's. I definitely have never done that.
No,
No.
New Yorkers don't really do that.
no.
Um,
It's everybody from out of that's like on my bucket list. I guess I'll probably be 90 before I do it, but I don't know. It just seems like it would be a pretty good, amazing experience to
have
be
to
there on New Year's
go.
and
Well,
watch
New
the
York
ball
is
drop.
wonderful. Come visit New York. I'm also in New York City, and it's a wonderful place to visit. Besides a great place to live, I'm on the Lower East Side in Manhattan right now. I made 5 more documentaries, both
That's good.
on my own and with my wife, who's also a documentary filmmaker. And my latest project is I just wrote a book. And it's called The Fight for Free Speech, 10 Cases That Define Our First Amendment Freedoms. It's a user's guide. Thank you, Chris. It's a user's guide to understanding our free speech rights today.
Where can we get that from?
And
Sorry.
all podcasters should read
Yeah.
so that we know what the hell we're doing.
Well, there's a lot. I mean, you were talking about women, the people at prom wearing clothes in protest. There's a lot about student protest. There's a lot about what you can say on the FCC. It is about our rights today and available wherever books are sold, Amazon or wherever. You can also check out my website, thefightforfreespeech.com.
Oh, that's interesting. Like I'm a big on that. So
I
I'm
just bought it
definitely
on Barnes
check
and
it out.
Noble. So
Excellent. Yeah, all available at Barnes and Noble. Thank you. There you go. It's really I'm in my day job is I'm a media lawyer at ABC News. So this is for the last 20 years.
You earned the right to write this book.
Yeah. So that's why I know about these issues. And my whole job is explaining complicated concepts to smart people who aren't lawyers. So this is a book not written for lawyers. It's written for everyday people to start to appreciate how our rights are influenced by cases from the past, but they still impact us today. So check it out.
Awesome.
Surprised you to hear that Ian, as a teenager, wrote wrote an opinion piece for the Racine Journal-Times.
That's right. So I was very flattered to get to have a book author questionnaire in the Racine Journal-Times for this book, and then my wife was posting that here 30 years later, basically, the second time I was in the Racine Journal-Times, I had written a very hard-hitting editorial attacking discrimination against young people at restaurants and movie theaters in Racine. It probably wasn't the most important issue of the day, but it was something I felt passionately about. So I've always believed in free speech.
Because they didn't want to seat us at Denny's because we were a hassle, and we were. Come on.
Well, they
You
used to
might
do
have
that to
been.
us at the malls on Saturdays. Remember, we would go to everyone would go to the Regency Mall on Saturday, and then they started saying, "Well, if you're not buying anything, you can't come." But that was something that we did as kids.
Another discriminatory thing, yes. And I also was indignant that we had to pay full price for movies, even though we still couldn't get into R-rated movies, even if you were an adult, but you couldn't go to adult movies.
We would go into one and then we'd sneak into the other one.
Well, that was the better way to do it. But
they tore that. That was like Westgate, and that's down now.
Westgate. I forgot about Westgate. Yeah.
Remember Westgate, and then we had the one out by Target. That's the one they tore down first, and then Westgate. And so now we just have Regency out in Sturtevant now. Yeah. And we just actually, we got a...
Wait, there's no movie theater other than there's no movie theater in Racine?
Just the Renaissance. And that's out in Sturtevant now. So I was kind of hoping they would have salvaged the Westgate one on Washington, but they ended up not doing it. And now it's just like a building that
a bank.
I think they tore it down actually.
Oh, it's tore down. They're both tore down.
No.
On the really old theater in Uptown Park, the Park Theater.
Yep.
I guess
They
had such
tore
a
that
beautiful
down, too.
marquee.
if you got no one to see that, it would have been neat to make like a cool, like other cities have a cool like theater.
That was where I
That
saw
just
Star
got
Wars.
tore down.
Yeah, that was a big controversy
a week
for
ago.
the city. They just tore it down actually, and
Yeah.
it's like a lot of people were they were trying to save it hardcore, and it just didn't work out. But
A beautiful.
you know, people, if they want to invest in it, I think it could have been like, you know, I love like historical things, and I think it was like a historical thing for our city, and they probably should have salvaged it. But
It's too dark to see. I'm walking for a reason. Somebody grabbed me 2 bricks and shipped them to me. You see those bricks here?
What?
Oh,
It was
Oh,
so
nice.
cool. A childhood friend of mine who knows I like history and love Racine. I got this. He asked me on Messenger. He asked me for my address. He grew up in my block, Chris Simonic. And I got this box in the mail a couple days later, and I didn't know what to think really. But it was so heavy. And then I open it up, and I'm like, there are 2 bricks in here. I'm like, I don't know what happened to Chris Simonic's mind. But then there was a little note that said the Park Theater, and I kind of was like, oh, this is interesting.
That's so cool.
I called
Yes,
them.
it is.
I got the story. So anyway.
yeah, I think they should have saved
I
it.
want one of those bricks.
I want to thank you guys both, and I want to thank Chris Jacob and Tanya for coming on and talking about their participation. It is now 8:04, and I am going to pull our guests off the screen. If you can wait just a few more minutes while Jody and I say goodbye to the people that have been listening.
And I just want to say thank you to Chris and Ian. So they did a 10-year follow-up, and I think that continuing to make this, to make it public knowledge of how important our prom is, and you know how it impacts our youth. I think it has really, really grounded us, you know, grounded our community. So I want to thank you guys, and Chris has always kept in touch, and you know I think that it was a great opportunity. So I also want to thank you guys and for being diligent and keeping it in the community.
Yes, I'll definitely be following you guys. I'm a big history person, so you guys, it's right up my alley. I'm glad that I got to meet you guys, and know now that you guys have all these things going on, because I will definitely be following.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I second that sentiment.
Yeah.
Thank you guys all for coming on, Tanya.
Thank you.
Thank
COVID's
you.
almost over, so we'll see each other soon, you guys.
Okay.
And keep in touch and let us know, you guys, if you have anything, like share it on our race, share it in the group. Let's keep this alive, and you know, just show people like our history in the historical parts of racing, because it is a big deal.
It is.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much. It was a ton of fun.
All right, thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, Jody, let's thank everybody for listening that's listened so far and that will be listening in the future. We will be on at 7 p.m. every Sunday night as things evolve and change, and we're going to be doing several different subjects. And Jody, we have now a Facebook group, right, that people can communicate with us.
We want you guys to interact. You guys, you know, be real. You know, don't be afraid. You know, you guys, it's a agree to disagree. It's a respectful group. We just started it, and our hopes are in building it. So interact, you guys. Post memes. You know, give inspiration, encourage, motivate. Share your bad times, share your good times. Just come and bring a friend or 10. And encourage, you know, like, let's help build and support. And, you know, if you guys need to reach out to us and you think you'll be fit for a show in the future, we're open to all types of ideas, because we are open topic. We're not just doing one thing. It'll be lots of things. So if you know this is something you want to do and you want to be a guest on our show, reach out to us.
Yes. Thank you. Have a great week. Be safe, make good choices, and
drink lots of water,
and take a deep breath. Have a great night. Talk to you guys later. Bye.